Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I'm joined once again by the fabulous duo that is Kyle Gaffney and Sam Comrie. How you doing, lads?
All right. Not bad. Sam's in the Matrix.
Sam is. He's
Exciting.
I know. He's just ascended.
I'm just trying to elevate, the production quality of the show. So I've brought the Matrix to us.
I've got a poster. And
I could have the poster if I wanted to in the Matrix simulation.
PlayStation, the Games Journal starter pack PlayStation lights. Gotta get it.
$4.99 from August, baby.
I think I got it from Game. What is yours?
Whoa.
One of those. I'm a Game Elite member, just to let you know. Or I used to be.
Mine just pinned into the wall.
What is?
My PlayStation lights. It's
right.
above my monitor.
Your Game Elite card.
Yeah.
I'm never using this again.
I've got £10 saved up on this bad boy.
No, what I was asking is, what's your background, Kyle?
Oh, it's from It Takes Two. It's the snowy level.
Oh,
mate, I thought it was some like Apex Legends.
I'm not even gonna lie. I played
Fortnite Season 2.
Even though I've played like nearly 350 hours at Apex, I was still like, is that an Apex map? Like a winter wonderland?
No, it's topical.
It's topical because we are talking about the games of the year, or just the year in general. We're going to be talking about some of our favorites, some of the ones that were big misses, some of the ones that we maybe hated as well. If you want to know our absolute favorites, we've also been releasing a bunch of videos on the channel. I've got both of my, I don't know when this is coming out, so both of mine's are out. You two second ones are on the way, so you can go onto the channel and check out what our top 2 picks of the year were and why they were that. But obviously we'll get into it very briefly in this as well, I'm assuming. But we thought we'd probably start from the beginning of the year, just kind of briefly work our way through it. But to start off, did you guys think this was a decent year for games? Did you have a good year in 2021 in the video game space?
I think so. I mean, it's been a weird one because we've had like the launch of next gen, like the end of 2020.
Yeah.
And then we're in this weird transition period now where we haven't quite made the full leap onto it yet. Yeah. We're still in like this testing period where we're all like, oh, this game's so next gen. This is what it means to have a PlayStation 5. We're not quite there yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
I could see that. I think this is going to be the weird transition in years where they're not fully willing to just drop last gen yet with the PS4 and Xbox One. But I think I don't even know if we'll get that in 2022, to be honest. I think that would maybe be a 23, 24 kind of deal, because didn't they say they were going to do like 3 years of PS4 still? I'm almost
I think so, yeah.
definitely I've got that in my head.
I hope by the point Spider-Man 2 comes out and they're like, Spider-Man 2 is a fully, PS5 exclusive. Otherwise, I think that'd be disappointing.
I think Spider-Man 2 has to be exclusive at that point. I can get why they would make Miles Morales both, because it's so close, but that is also giving everyone an opportunity, maybe, hopefully, to get a PS5. Maybe you can walk into a shop in 2023 and just buy one.
Maybe.
That is the kind of madness that, like, the only console out of all of them that's readily available really is the Series S.
Yeah.
And everything else is just completely sold out still. So I didn't expect to be sitting 13 months later still getting notifications on my phone being like, stock update. You'll see game post all the time, like, new stock coming in this morning, be quick, and it's gone in seconds. But taking it all the way back to January, we're obviously not going to cover every game because we'd be here all the time, but we're going to try and maybe pick 1 or 2 from every month. And January, there was only really one on our minds, and that was Hitman 3. This was a game I think I did review on the site.
You did indeed.
Got a little video, my first video for the channel. Video review. Check that out. I love this game, obviously. Well, I don't know, obviously. I'm saying that like everyone's listened and watched everything I've played. Like,
I love that Hitman tattoo you've got on your forehead.
But yeah, no, it was a really good game. It was my first fully diving into this series, because I'd played bits of Hitman 1, never played 2. So then when this came up and yous were offering for me to do the review, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go full whack for this. So I really, really enjoyed it. I think the maps are crazy, just so diverse and so like fun to explore. Even though I had that fucking atrocious VR mode. What was your thoughts on the VR mode, Kyle?
I would say we'll come back to maybe missed opportunities later, but the Hitman VR mode is probably the biggest missed opportunity. That was probably the main reason. Although, unlike you, I know you went into it expecting it to be full hawk, and you have like motion controls. They did like before, like it's not going to be that, but they've now said it's coming to PC. I don't actually know when it's coming to PS. Well, not the VR mode's coming to PC. I can't remember when they're doing like their year 2 roadmap, and that will have the VR mode that you wanted. It's got full motion controls, which is, on the one hand, that's really cool to see it coming, but it's also like, okay, so you could have done it in the PSVR, but you just chose not to, because it definitely, although it's certainly harder to develop, we've seen like games like Skyrim and Walking Dead work on PlayStation VR. So hopefully, whenever PSVR 2 comes out, they will retroactively give it an update, because I liked Hitman 3, but I've been saving it because I'm just kind of, I think when it comes in PC, I'll probably just buy it again, so I can have like the whole game, because it'll be what Hitman 1, 2, and 3 all in motion controlled VR, which even though the VR mode was a bit shit, I think the scope of it was very impressive. I mean, I don't know if it'll run on my computer, to be honest, which is an annoying thing. It runs quite well on the PS5 controllers aside. So we'll see what happens. I think it is very cool though that a game like this you wouldn't expect to have VR, put it in as a free edition. I will say that.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. What did you think then, just as a fully, because you wouldn't have played it in VR, Sam? You obviously liked this one.
Yeah, I ain't got the chance to play in VR, but I will say when I saw that first trailer for VR, it was probably one of the only trailers for VR that's made me think, yeah, I need to buy a PSVR headset. It really sold me on what it could do, and then it were a bit like disheartening to hear that YouTube played it and it just didn't live up to the expectation in that regard. But playing it as a normal console, and having played all the other ones, like I've been loving this franchise since like Silent Assassin on the PS2, and it's so cool to see how it's evolved over the years. And this trilogy is definitely, I think, what IO Interactive, if you ask them what the Hitman experience is, this is it. Yeah. This is everything that you would expect to see from a Hitman game. It's got all the nuance of the maps that are meticulously designed, and you've got all the fun and randomness. You can kill people with bananas if you want to, because that's what you can do in a Hitman game. You can create your own chaos, and I think that's what really shines in Hitman 3 in particular. It's like almost like an ode to the imagination of the player, because you can do whatever you want, and the only really confines is just like the limitations of what you can come up with. And I think that's so cool to see in a big AAA game like that.
Something else I found really admirable about it, or maybe not admirable is not the right word, but having a game that wasn't obsessed with being obscenely large in terms of like open world or whatever. It was like, I loved having the you know, the maps and the missions were big, they're really expansive, but it was just because like that was it in the kind of large scheme of things where you're talking about, you know, all these other open world games, you get miles and miles to explore. Having these really dense levels, I love, because it just meant going back time and time again and learning where this guy is or where that guy is. And it was one of the few games as well that whenever I got stuck, I didn't like just go to guides online. I was like, no, you know what? I think I'm going to try and figure this one out myself. And I spent ages, you know, trying to figure some of them out, which was really, really fun. In the essence of time, though, obviously I'm going to move on from that one. But
before you do, I think we'd be remiss not to shout out your interview.
Oh, my interview.
The man himself.
The big man himself.
The first plug of many.
The first plug of many.
We've got a plug quarter to hit. That's just one of them.
Yeah, that was my first like big interview with David Bateson. Talked in length about his you know, experience playing this character for what, like 20 years. So and he was a super nice guy, and you know,
it's how we found out your name is Aiden and not Adam.
It is
literally that's the only reason we know.
So it was sitting there ripping into Sam in the video and then sent him the unedited cut. There's this guy, he keeps calling me Aaron.
He doesn't even know my name.
Oh well.
Well, you know, you live and you learn, Sam.
Exactly.
So moving on to February, we've just get a big old missed opportunity. What was that missed opportunity, Samuel?
Destruction All Stars. I mean, it was touted like, yeah, PS5 game on PS Plus. It's your first taste of a free PS5 game, and then you play it and it died after like a week.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because the concept of the game is quite fun and it's quite well designed. It's just it doesn't have any momentum behind it to keep it going forward. Like I re-downloaded it actually like 2 months ago because they've put a story mode in it now. Because it needed that apparently.
That's what was missing.
It's a shame. I think it has the potential in the same kind of it's like Rocket League to have that like really chaotic fun that you can pal up with your friends for half an hour, blast out a few games, and then unfortunately it's just not stuck the landing.
Yeah, that I think as well had a bit of like bad faith from the players in the sense that they knew that was supposed to be a full price game, and then they kind of backtracked and went, "Oh no, it's a PS Plus game," and that game is like I would be questioning the financial integrity of anyone that actually paid full price for a game like that. It's just ridiculous. It's not. It is a 20. Like I'd say, if you were to pay for it, it's like a £25 game at max. Like you're not.
No, I'd say like £15 max.
If you're slapping on a £70 price tag to that, considering you go, oh, you can get like Hitman for 50 quid, and then that for 70 quid. That's just insane. So And I think you're right. Like it did have a good concept, and I think my first like hour or two of the game, I was like, "This is really good," but then it just completely dips because it's not got the variety in the gameplay there. I don't think. I think they had like a cool, crazy concept, but they needed to go wilder with it. They needed to go a bit further to make it fun because it's just like it didn't feel variable enough to come back and play this same game and these same modes and these same maps all the time. So that is a kind of big disappointment to me.
Yeah,
you played a lot of it as well.
I played it for the first week as well. Like you two, I was like, this feels great. Like I remember the animation. I was like, well, this feels like really high budget. It looks great. It really pops off the screen. It had good haptics and stuff like that. And I got a couple of pals to download it. And I think as soon as like there's no reason to play it with friends either. Although it's like a team-based game, it just didn't feel like you needed, it was just folk smash. It's not like Rocket League where you need to be communicating, and that's part of the fun of Rocket League. Even if you're crap at Rocket League, the fun of it comes from having a laugh, try to make up tactics with your friends. And this, it was just crash, and then hope for the best and try and make your own fun. I think it needed it. It needed, and something like Mario Kart, was it Double Dash where you were like two people on a car? I think it needed something like that, where it was maybe like 2-player co-op, one person maybe on like a gun, just something to give it a bit more. Just no variety. And then as well, I remember when you started it, there was so much stuff on the menu that was like coming soon. It's like, right. So by the time your game's dead, nobody's going to come back for your story mode and your new modes. It's just, I think it was just a very poorly planned release from Sony. I don't know who was. It would have been Sony, I guess. We're like, yeah, this is not going to sell at 70 quid.
Yeah.
And even the fact it's a free game, folk didn't care, is a shame.
That was kind of one of the problems I always had with Fall Guys as well. When you have this thing that seems like it should be good for co-op, but there's really no reason to play with it because you're playing Fall Guys, you don't have any clue who's in your team. So, moving on to March, get a big boy coming out in March. Kyle, what were you playing in March?
I just kept playing Destruction All Stars, to be honest. I really wanted to give it a second chance, so I really grinded it. So It Takes Two came out, which was announced at the Game Awards at some point after A Way Out, which I also really liked. And it was just a game that ever since the reveal trailer, I was like, this looks right up my alley because I really liked A Way Out, but I thought there's a lot of room to improve upon. And I know I've just went on about it so much, I don't even know what there is to say. We did a couple of videos on it. We played it for a wee bit. We had a blast, even in our hour session we played of it. I can't say enough good things about it. It's probably the best co-op game. I always compare it to Portal 2 because that's like for me the top tier co-op game ever made, because it's a game that actually makes you have to, a co-op game where it's not, there's loads of co-op games where it's just, even Back for Blood, which we'll come to later. It's a co-op game, but you don't really need to communicate really. Like you can still just like kind of, if you're good at the game, whereas this, you need to be chatting constantly. You need to not that it's a particularly difficult game by any means, but it's like the fun of it is chatting about what you're saying. There's loads of mini games. The story is really simple, and the story at first I was like, oh, this is crap, this is bringing it down, but it's just very, it's like DreamWorks generic in some ways, but it's done so well, and the animation's great, the voice acting's great. It's just, it's one of the few games as well I think clearly has like a director behind it. I don't think there's very often games we can be like, you know, with films, well, that's very clearly directed by that person. Whereas this, Joseph Fares, because he's so nuts, it just feels like it's him through and through, and a lot of it is his vision, which I don't feel like we see a lot. And as well, like even just the fact it was like what, it was like a £30 game. You got a free copy for your friend with it. It's so many, like what's really, it's like a £15 game. Now it's on Game Pass, so I guess it doesn't count. But I just can't. Did you guys both play it? I know I've been shouting like the last 10 months to get everyone to play it. Did you ever get a chance to finish it?
I haven't finished it. I've played a large portion of the game. No, it wasn't by any fault of the game, to be honest, that I didn't finish it. It was just a case of like work came in the way, more games needed to download it. So
it's like 14 hours long as well, which was shocking.
Yeah,
it is long.
That was kind of the thing for me, because like I was playing it with Amelia, so she's not a game person, and getting her on it was really fun because it was the kind of games where it was like messing with the mechanic, almost introducing her to like a bunch of different things, like a third person platformer, a shooter at some points, a side by side like brawler, all of these different things was really fun to for me as well, like because she's so bad at it. I was finding it really fun, like seeing how she managed or coped with all of these things. So that was really fun. And like just saying, it's like great to see like the price of it, what you get for it, and the fact that you're getting a code for somebody else if they want to play online with you. And it's something as well that when as soon as I saw it, I wrote it off, because I'm like bad for judging like stuff that looks maybe a bit more like childish. I'm kind of the guy, if you like splatter some blood across somebody's face, I'm like, that's game of the year. I'm watching that. But, you know, but as soon as you put like colorful things in a talking book, I'm like, nah, man, that's not for me. But then like that was the thing. It ended up, the buzz that was around it at the time, and I think you as well, was kind of part of the reason why I bought it in the end. And but I mean, obviously I can't really speak to the full game, but from what I played, really, really solid. Like, cool. And I think it expanded a lot on what A Way Out did, because A Way Out was quite stale, I think, at points, like kind of boring in a way.
Well, I thought a lot of A Way Out was like you were watching it cinematically, and it was like, whereas this was like, nah, you're kind of playing it constantly, even for the really cinematic moments.
And it's finding really a way stunning to just evolve the gameplay mechanics, so you're not doing the same thing over it. It's not like, okay, you know, like how you get in games like, oh, it's this bit, right? I'll go find this and you do that. And it's the same thing over and over again. It wasn't really doing that, which was really fun. And I think
just like go on for ages, but like A Way Out, a lot of it was like one person's like, right, tell me when it's safe to do this. It was a lot more, I guess, maybe like stealth and stuff like that. And then there were moments in The Way Out, especially at the end, where it was like really creative. Whereas this game seemed like every second moment was like, whoa, that's something new. And it was, you were, even if you're on your different paths, you weren't just like waiting for the other person to do something. You were doing your own thing, just constantly introducing something. That's something I wish I spoke about more. The fact, like Gail as well, who I played it with, who I think it does such a good job of getting you into game genres as well for people who haven't played games, like you were saying. But like, because I was worried that we're not going to get through this, and it's not an easy game. Like, you know, it's not difficult either. It is the perfect balance in terms of like anyone can play it. I think I think anyone could play it. I think my mum could maybe play it if we sat down. Like, it would take ages, and it doesn't punish you that much either for like mucking up. You'll just spawn right back and it's quick. But Sam, did you say you've played it?
No.
Scum.
No.
Oh my
and we move on to April.
It's fine.
April was a biggie for me because we had Returnal.
Biggie Bane.
Big month for Biggie Bane. Returnal came out, which is the first, in my eyes, kind of the first big PlayStation exclusive, as far as I remember. So anyway, Returnal was just kind of, like I was saying, dark sci-fi shooter. I'm obsessed with Resogun. And although I say that, I'm like, oh, Housemarque, it's going to be amazing. But there's like 2 games in between Returnal and Resogun, and I've not played them at all. But I'm just like, man, if Resogun's good, this is going to be good. And I think it does the same kind of level of when you're playing and shit's hitting the fan and like there's all these things coming everywhere and there's all these lights, you're like glued to the screen. Like you could throw something off my face and I'd just be like still playing. I have no idea what's going on. So that was what I really appreciated about the game. I know there's a lot of like controversy around it in terms of difficulty. I've always said I actually didn't find it that difficult. I had the time.
I was too shit to finish it, you see.
I had the time, I will say, to play it more, to like go properly for it and like have 3-hour runs at that point when it came out, because I think I was reviewing it as well. And then but like the progression for me was fantastic, going from like one boss into a new world and then finding shortcuts. It's not just like, oh man, I'm raging, I can't believe I've failed, I have to go through that all again. It wasn't really like that, because it mixes it up enough with like the rooms messing around and the enemies and then like your shortcuts. So I think it was really, really, really fun, and it felt kind of next gen to me with like the speed of the game, considering you're just like blasting through all these doors. Like it's like speed running a game, and it never stuttered. And you're teleporting to this place and it's just like that, you're done. The haptics felt amazing. The rain, I've never felt such good
sound
rain
design
from my fingertips than in Returnal. But yeah, all of that just made it like so great. And obviously, I don't know if I mentioned it in the video that I done for it, but Alien, it had some major Alien vibes, specifically kind of Prometheus and Alien Covenant vibes, which I'm like, mate, lap it up, mate. I love it. So that was kind of what I liked about it. What about you two? I telling you, Kyle, I'm constantly seeing your thing come on my phone.
It was one day. One day I went back on it, bro.
Man, I got a phone notification. So like, Kyle is in the blah 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 region.
Yeah, because I've not beat it. I've just not.
I've not beat it either.
I got like halfway through it. And it was weird because I got to the halfway point, and if anything, it brought me in more as the story's taking a really good turn. And I guess something else came out, and then I tried to go back to it last week where you accused me of dying all the time, which I probably did. And I just like couldn't get back into the rhythm of it. I don't know what it was. I think because it took me so long to get good at it. By the time I went back, it's not that it's a game that, I don't think the learning curve is particularly sharp, but you got to be top notch with your reactions constantly. And like you said, you really are like glued to the screen that you have to, even though they've introduced they introduced a save function finally, which is pretty cool. A bit late that it only came out last month. That's strange it took that long. So, but it is cool. That's kind of the reason I went on, is I want to see if this works, and it does make a difference. I think the fact you can just come back to it, and I really want to finish it because I want to see where the story goes. But I don't know. It was just for me, as much as I liked Returnal, and it was the first £70 game I bought, which was a bit like, a bit worrying. I wish it had more, and I'm always going to get roguelike and roguelite mixed up. For me, I wish it was a bit more like Hades in terms of progression, which maybe could have, for people who did find it too difficult, if it was a case of every time you die, you keep something, whereas in Returnal, you kind of lose everything, which I get. That was part of the reason I liked it, because it was just like you really just need to get better at the game. Whereas a game like Hades, which is like the only reference point I have, if you keep dying, at least your character's getting better, you're getting more XP, and you're putting that into like stronger abilities and better weapons. Whereas this was just like, no, you're dead. Keep trying.
I think Returnal's version of that though was kind of like the knowledge of how to tackle the different enemies.
Yeah,
because you had some that would just be like, you would learn the attack patterns, or like maybe even sometimes the weapons, like the kind of approach that you should take. Because like I would think, if you're going to this area, like you'd be picking up a weapon, you think, should I be picking up this weapon for this zone? I think this could do well against these guys.
Yeah.
And all this kind of stuff. Like, and that I really enjoyed about it. So I think there was a level of it, but like different. And I'm also, I don't know personally how much I would have liked it if I would be talking about it as emphatically, if it didn't have if it did have the save function when I played it. Because there was something I liked. I 100% get why it's like why people wouldn't like it, because forcing people into playing, like having to do this, is a pain in the ass. It's the reason I haven't played, half the games that I wanted to this year. But at the same time, like for having a game that kind of forced you to work with it, instead of just you doing that, like that made it a bit more special for me.
It definitely was part of the charm a wee bit, the fact that I had to be like, right, I'm going to play Returnal for 2 hours and see how far I can get. But Sam, you were quite late to the party on this one, weren't you? You picked up after we'd moved on to Destruction All Stars again.
Yeah, I got it a bit later on, and the thing is, I do think it's an exceptional game. It's exceptionally well directed. It looks incredible. The score for it as well, the music score is phenomenal. Just like really atmospheric, ambient synth and stuff like that. Anything like that, I will just lap up.
Organ Man.
Yeah.
Organ Man.
Organ Man was insane.
But it's an exceptional game. But there's just something for me. It's almost like a mental block where if I know I have to play it for such amount of time to get somewhere, it puts me off. Even though I know that like tonight, for example, I'd probably play Fortnite or something for like 2 hours. But I willingly would play it for 2 hours. But I don't know if I'm forced, like you say, if I'm forced to commit, it puts me off. I want the element of choice to play the game, really.
Mm-hmm. I get that. I think it is just something that's always going to have a divide in terms of like how people play their games as well. So you've got another one marked down here, and I've got no expertise in this.
No, right?
Sorry, I'll be very quick. It's just it was just the next gen patch for Final Fantasy 7 or Intergrade, and added a bit of DLC. With Final Fantasy 7 was my game of the year last year. It's still great. It runs at 60 FPS. They fixed the door. And now you can upgrade to this version for free if you got the PS Plus version, which is pretty cool. Nice wee win. It's just a better version of the game that came out last year. Not much else to say. Still the GOAT. The extra DLC is pretty good too. You not played it. I know none of you two are going to play it because you never will. But
the thing is, I've got the remake installed.
I know you have the PS5 one for free.
I've got it installed.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Why?
Because I hear this man talking about deleting stuff all the time. He's like, I've just got Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I've got it installed. I might play it.
It's 100 gig.
Not.
Oh god.
Yeah, that's why it's on the external and not on my actual PlayStation.
Well, anyone else who's not played it, it's class. Can't wait for the sequel, which will never come out.
Yeah. Hey. There we go. So we're gonna try and slightly ramp it up because we are on fucking May right now.
There were quite big heavy hitters. I was like 3 of our picks.
There were some big heavy hitters there. So May we had Resident Evil Village 8. I didn't play this. It's on my Christmas bucket list.
I didn't play it.
Right.
Take it away, baby.
It's more Resident Evil. So Evolution, Resident Evil 7. If it's as good as Resident Evil 7, it depends on how you like your Resi. Resident Evil 8 is very similar to Resi 4, which is my favorite Resident Evil. So in some ways, I liked this more than 7, but it's also not very scary. It gets way too action packed at the end, but it's also, if you're into like speed running and stuff, so Resident Evil 4, that's a game I love to speed run and try and get better at and save out. I think you can beat Resident Evil 8 in 3 hours or less, which is pretty crazy. And or even I don't know, maybe 2 hours, because you get like a lightsaber as well as an unlock, which is pretty fun. There's loads of like cool unlockable weapons. I'm sorry, the game come out in May. You've had bloody months to finish it. Goes on sale on time. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else you could say about it. I think it looks great. The RE engine that doesn't stand for Resident Evil, which is hilarious. It looks great. But I don't know how well it has pretty good VR. That'll be coming soon. 3D audio, stuff like that. I don't know. It's just I don't know what else to say. It's good. Resident Evil just seems to keep hitting. I don't know where they're going to go next. I just wish that basically the portion in Resident Evil 8, which is in the castle, the game doesn't quite hit those heights again, which is unfortunate because that's like the start of the game.
Well, I've heard constantly about this like house, like lady.
Yeah, well that's
house, which
there's like a section that is basically PT, and it's not even, there's no shooting, there's nothing like that. It's like puzzles. It's really good. So those 2 points, and those 2 points are like back to back with each other. So you got like castle, this PT bit, and then it doesn't take like a massive. It shifts into an action game, which I get that is a lot of people's complaint with it.
But if you liked Resident Evil Village, plug number 2 of the
I was going to say
of the YouTube video, we have 2 interviews. Two.
Wait, and it takes 2. We also interviewed
I was just about to say
Joseph Balderrama.
It's plugs galore. Plugs galore.
You were busy. What can we say?
If
You were busy.
you want to see an interview with Michelle Lukes, who plays Mother Miranda, or Maggie Robertson, who plays Lady Dimitrescu, we've got it all here.
I'm going to have to fucking edit these things in.
I mean,
now.
you can if you...
Annotations.
There you go. They're on the channel. Check them out.
Yeah.
Well, June, I guess. Sam,
June.
it's your big one.
Go for it, baby.
Absolute. A game for kings. Chivalry 2. Glorious game. They tried to put Chivalry 1 on PS4, I remember that, and it was an absolute disaster. Just absolute F from them, everyone involved. PC version, pretty good. That's where I cut my teeth with Chivalry. I used to do like one-on-one duels, and it was fun. And I was a bit cautious of how they would port that experience to the consoles. Played the Xbox beta, which we had some troubles. I remember when we were trying to do the crossplay on it.
The game still isn't crossplay.
Still doesn't crossplay, but that's we don't need to talk about that. But thankfully, this game is a hell of a lot of fun. It's just absolute mayhem. The way I always describe it to people, I'm trying to sell it to them, is it's Battlefield with swords, which I think is a pretty good way to sell it.
That's pretty good.
That's very
Battlefield
accurate.
with sword. It's not as self-serious because you can like pick up a loaf of bread if you want and chuck it at someone's head.
What a head.
And then, or a head and chuck that at someone else's head and then decapitate their head. Endless head. It's amazing. I just think it's so much fun, and I've not had as much time as I want to sink into it because I don't have many people apart from you and now Tom and Nick. They've now just got it. But
I've got it on the Xbox, and
you've got it on the Xbox,
not crossplay.
But Kyle, it's £15 now on PS5.
I'm not buying it twice.
I remember that now. Like, no, I'm not buying. I know you're
not getting it.
This platform. I'm just gonna buy it on Xbox.
I'm not buying it twice. No, I didn't know you had. Well, because I thought the game had crossplay.
I'm 100%.
Doesn't it the minute?
I'm almost definite that was a talking point where he said, "Don't buy an Xbox."
No, it was a talking point like 4 months after the fact. Guys, that's Chivalry 2, only £20 on Amazon. I was like, bro, I bought it like 4 months ago.
It's actually $14.99 on Amazon now.
Well,
PS5. Day one edition.
The reason I bought it on Xbox was because it was like £4 on CD keys.
Nah, that's not a good enough reason. It's not a good enough reason. But yeah, if you've not played Chivalry 2 and you just want to have a game where you've got these big scale modes, 64 players just absolutely demolishing each other with catapults, you can put yourself in the catapult if you want, which is always a hell of a lot of fun. It's just great. It's just it's a good casual game that you can jump into. And the combat in it is like, I've always said it's easy to learn but hard to master it. But when you do master it and you're doing like counters and blocks and parries, you feel like an absolute god playing it.
It's so intense when you get to the point where you're like actually managing to deflect like multiple enemies. It's really intense. I remember we had a game actually where it was like trying to destroy something in a castle, and it's like one of us like just threw our sword and done that last bit of damage in the last second. It was incredible. So it is really fun. That also came about when I think I was supposed to review it for the site, then you did, because that was the month-long, sabbatical where I had no
that was June as well. June was E3 month as well, so it was incredibly busy.
And then the other thing for that month was Ratchet and Clank, which I can't remember. Did you not like that, Kyle? I'm sure you were like hyping it up at one point, and then
all right.
All right.
I borrowed it off a friend months after it came out because I wasn't paying £70 for it. And it's all right. It's another Ratchet. I think it is pretty. I don't know. It's probably on paper the like most technically impressive game I've ever played. It looks stunning. The stuff it does with the way it shows off the loading times is really cool. The first hour or so of that game, you're like, holy shit, this is next gen. And then it becomes the same Ratchet and Clank game you've played 100 times. And you're fighting the same boss over and over again. You're fighting the same enemies. But
this was my first Ratchet and Clank game. I never played.
And even you didn't like it that much.
I was enjoying it, and it kind of stalled for me in a certain area. And I think it's like very impressive. Especially there's the level where you're splitting, but you can like split between dimensions with the big mining city. And it's that for me was like a jaw dropping moment. But at the same time, it just didn't have enough variety for me. It felt like outside of the graphics, nothing it was doing in game was really like all that impressive other than the details, which is a problem. I think some of the Sony games, like, I think that's something that's going to be the issue with that. Is it Forsaken or Forspoken is coming out? And it's like, oh, look, it looks amazing, but that doesn't always do it for me. And I think there's the potential with that game, but that was kind of the case for me with Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, it's difficult because like at a good price, I would still recommend it to pretty much anyone. I think fans of Ratchet and Clank will really like it. Again, it's so because it is like, yeah, it's a solid game. I probably would give it, it's like an 8 out of 10. It's just really forgettable. And it's just like, I've never really thought of it since.
I literally didn't even add it to the list till we're midway through this because I was like, hey, did that come out? Sam, did you play it?
I've not played it yet, but I am a fan of the franchise. I can't believe you've never played like the first one on the PS2, man.
Did you not even play the reboot?
No.
I played the reboot.
Same. Because we were gamers, Sam.
Because I played Harry Potter on PS1. I'm a true gamer. Shut up.
Yes, we are.
Pretty much, yeah.
At least, did you play?
Go on, drop it.
I was going to say Scooby Doo on the side, but
can I stop you?
I did actually.
I did actually.
Anyway, on to July. We've got a couple. We got a couple.
Composure, compose.
One, The Ascent. I played that for review. Pretty rubbish, in my opinion. Did any of you play that?
No, I didn't play it.
It's a bit of a misfire. I was getting kind of hyped up. I think it got a higher critical reception than it deserved. It's a twin stick shooter. Looks nice. Game Pass game. Can play in co-op, but it just didn't do it for me.
I just love how you brought it up to the score. Yo, shit.
You know we're talking about the rubbish
highs
games.
and lows. Highs and lows.
Highs
I
and
know,
lows.
but it's the way you did it. It's just the way you did it.
You know, we're getting on. We're
shit. I gotta keep going.
Then that month we also had The Forgotten City, which was one of Kyle's favorites.
It's my runner-up. So plug, go watch that. Again, tell you what, I'll talk about 12 minutes now, even though it's in August, because the reason I played Forgotten City was because I played 12 minutes and I hated it that much, and I couldn't believe folk were like, wow, what a genius game. It's fucking genius. Like a 4-year-old wrote it. And it's like, oh my god. So like 12 minutes is meant to be this game where it's like which a cool concept, you're stuck in a loop, it's a puzzle game, work out how to break the loop. You know, just like every other game that seemed to come out this year seemed to be about loops. But it's like the most, like, people criticize another game we'll talk about later in the year for holding your hand too much. 12 minutes. I got to the point 2 hours in, I was like, I'm just watching a walkthrough. I cannot be arsed. Like the amount of holes you have to jump in to figure out what Willem Dafoe is like, excuse me, ma'am, it's the police. Was it? I'm trying to figure a Spider-Man quote, but I've lost it. Anyway, The Forgotten City is just everything but better. Hold your hand a wee bit.
McAvoy's on sabbatical, honey.
That'll do. And then
not even our national treasure, James McAvoy, could save it.
No, or Daisy Ridley. Is it? Yeah, so it's an all-star cast.
National treasure.
What?
It was in Star Wars.
Nicolas Cage in it, mate. But like the game's alright. I'm probably being a bit harsh. Folk did like it. I got nothing out of it. Forgotten City started as a Skyrim mod, got made into a full-fledged game. It's not like the prettiest game ever, but it's got a great story, great writing, and it's just a blast. Check it out. I think it's also on Game Pass now. So, which 12 minutes was also on Game Pass, but isn't worth your time. But no, I'd rather more people play 12 minutes as well as the Forgotten City. So I don't know if I'm crazy. Like, you guys need to play it and tell me if I'm insane. No, like, it's shit. But every time I can't remember
how long is it.
No, it's genius.
12 minutes.
12 minutes long, mate. I mean, if you. It could take like.
I can't believe they actually stuck to it.
6 hours if you don't know what you're doing. It just keeps going. And then James McAvoy's like, God damn. Look, put it this way: in 12 minutes, you can stab your wife, and then your guy has like no reaction. He's like, oh well. It's like, oh well, my wife's dead. Move on.
I thought you were about to. I thought the thing was like, take it this way: instead of playing 12 minutes, in 12 minutes you could just stab your wife. I thought that was
Fuck.
Put that on the cover. But Forgotten City rips. It's great. 10 out of 10. Well, 9 out of 10.
On the same month as 12 Minutes in August, we had Aliens Fireteam Elite, which was a play favourite. We absolutely... It's where we bonded, isn't it?
Can I just say, earlier at the start of this video, you said that this year's a bit of a weird one because not many games took full advantage of the next-gen hardware, but I feel like Aliens Fireteam Elite is the black sheep because it was just... I can't even finish.
It's such a 360 game if ever there was one. I have to say I might be slightly hypocritical here because I gave this a very good review.
You were in love with it.
I'm a big Aliens fan. I'm a big Alien fan, and then like I said earlier in the video, they chucked in a little bit of like Covenant and Prometheus, and I was like when I opened the door and there was a big Prometheus head, and I was like, boy. That was it for me. You know, I couldn't really.
I don't think I've ever dropped a game so quickly than you
I
played
just
that.
love how we played it for like 30 minutes. It was absolute dog shit. Every night, Aaron's like, boys, so we playing Aliens, yeah?
Please, can we go back on it? It's honestly,
I had to complete the game with randomers. I had to complete the game with randomers because I was like, I couldn't. It comes to a certain point where the AI is just not good enough for like the.
The AI wasn't good enough.
No,
was it not?
Better than you two, though. I got to say.
Playing it was good.
Remember, it was like run. It was like they literally say, "Run, get in the elevator." And I was like, "Oh, is that a box over there?" And then they swarm us, and that was it.
We didn't even know what the elevator was. And he went to practice.
So anyway, bit of a mixed bag from us, but you know. Next up, September. Sam, you've got Death Stranding director's cut here.
Yeah, of course I do.
Explain yourself.
Well, it seems like this year's been a year of remasters and remakes. It's been quite a lot, and I think that this one was quite overdue. I've been played like Death Stranding originally in lockdown last year. I just was absolutely blown away by it, and I just felt like this was one of the games that should get like the PS5 treatment, so to speak. And I think if you're going to pick it up, if you're fortunate enough to have a PS5, this is the way you should play it. I don't think some of the additions that have been put in it are all that great. I've not really touched the new story stuff, but like it doesn't add so much onto it. It is still just the core experience I would recommend going for. The additions are a bit lackluster, but as a whole package, Death Stranding's a fantastic game. At least in my opinion, anyway. I know it's quite divisive.
No, it is. It's fantastic, and it looks stunning.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
I have been meaning to like jump into this because it's a game I put like 25 hours to in with last gen. And I can't imagine that it would be amazing to play on PS5 because it was really good to play on PS4 as long as you had your headphones on. And I don't know if I really like the story too much, but I like the unconventional gameplay experience of it. So I mean I might give it a go at one point, and I'm glad I have the option to play it on PS5 as well. But move aside Death Stranding because we've got your
right.
We'll get your boy Deathloop. We'll get your boy Deathloop, another big PS5 exclusive, absolute PlayStation shill that I am.
Another time loop game. I
love me some looping. And this game is, I spoke about it in one of my videos, so if you want more in-depth thoughts, you can go watch that. But I loved it. I found it really fun to just get into the kind of nitty-gritty of like discovering this loop. I think it holds your hand maybe a little bit too much, but the performances are amazing. It's a nice blend of like the stealthier side of Dishonored and then the more action-packed side of, I don't even have another example because this is probably the most action-packed they've done, but it's really, really fun. Great story. And the leads, plug number indefinite, but we done interviews with Jason Kelly and Ozio Aka, who are the main leads of
Legends.
Absolute legends. Main leads of Deathloop. I've forgotten Juliana and Colt. But yeah, those two kind of made the experience for you, I think, because it is a lot like a bit heavier in the story than some of the other games that they've done are, because it's a lot more like linear in that sense. But it just feels like such a smart game, the way that they've kind of puzzled everything together. And it'll be really fun. I don't know if it's really something I would go back and play again though, because it feels like now that I've done it, I know how it works. I know what to do, kind of thing. So yeah,
that's
that was
my kind of feeling on it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I gave it a 10 for the site. I do think it's still worthy of that praise, but it's an experience it's very innovative, and it's fun. It's got incredible production design, like the world itself, like the very like Austin Powers Bond aesthetic that it's got going on, and the music as well. It all like ties together for this really fantastic experience. But having played it, I don't know whether it has that Hitman kind of appeal where you can dive back into it and play through the levels and rejig how you're going to assassinate people. Because with this, even though you're led through the steps in like this murder mystery kind of way, like it's reverse engineered, you can't deviate that much from the path. You do still have to kill them in that specific time frame or that specific method so you can complete the game. So I don't know if it has that replay value.
I don't think Deathloop's that good.
Stunned him.
I don't think it's that good. I think it's overrated. I don't get the appeal. Thank you for listening. Mate. Goodbye. Peace out.
Damn.
No. Right. Okay. I think it's like probably like an 8.
Blame yourself.
It's probably like an 8. I just think I don't know. My main criticism with it is the hand holding. It never felt like I was the one working out how to do this at any point, despite being like, okay, I love the design, I love the way it plays. Despite the fact it kind of ran like shit sometimes. I think performance-wise, like some of them were pretty massive dips in the frame. I was like, okay, this is a bit weird because it's a next-gen title. But that aside, and it's just that was the main criticism, because when I was playing it, I was like, this feels great. I loved it, like when you two were like invading my game. And I like there'd be times I'd like nip to the toilet, come back, not see the message that you invade. I'm like, this Juliana's insane. How are they doing this? Like that stuff was great. But I think it was more the last maybe quarter of the game was when it gets to the point that you're not forcing yourself, but you're skipping days or skipping, because there's that function where you can skip a part of the day. And the fact that I was doing that, I didn't expect this is what it was going to be, like me skipping to the evening so I can get a bit of evidence, skipping back again to the evening to get another bit of evidence. I thought it was going to be, I didn't know if there was going to be any hand holding, to be honest. I thought it was going to be an extent of you work it out. Once you figure out, these, like when you figure out, oh my, right, okay, those two, they need to drown in that area. You do that, you remember you've done that. Okay, so get the next person. But it is very much, it has markers. It's like, do this, right, you're done. Go to the next part of the day, do that, you're done. I think the way when you're in the levels, for the most part, like for example, and there's one area where like, there are two enemies that, you have to be creative how you kill them. You can't just storm in. But like, the two people that you drown, like that is like, you can't do that really any differently. It's just you've got to drown them to move on to the next part of the story and that stuff. I just don't get. I like it, but people say it's like revolutionary. It changes how we think about game design. I'm like, what? Come on.
I will say it's the only game. I actually have the notepad next to me. It's the only game I've used pen and paper to figure out how
I nearly did.
Break. Here we go. I don't know if you can see it that well because of my stupid background.
It's disappearing into the matrix.
Can I get it to show? Can I get it to show?
Do you write in code?
I do write in code. Wait. You can barely say it. Okay, you barely saw it for a second. There's a table.
But why did you need that? You're fucking
idiot.
Well,
what I did, I made like a thing like morning, noon, and afternoon, evening, and I wrote the character names. And then every time I figured out how to do
I thought I was gonna have to do that at the start. I was like, oh, this is gonna be difficult. And then it's like, nah, we'll tell you what to do. That's my main criticism of it. It didn't feel like, I don't know. It just didn't give me the loop vibe, I never felt like I was looping. Yeah, I don't know. I wish it was. In some way, again, I wish it was more like a roguelike game in some ways. I think a lot of
how many bloody roguelikes?
I don't know, but like I think a lot of people were kind of not in a bad way. Like I had no idea. I thought it was going to be you start your run, you go through the day. If you die, you go back to the start. Whereas you complete a section, you move on.
when I found out that it was structured the way that it was a bit of a shock to me. I wasn't quite expecting that, but at the same time, like I don't think it would really work in a lot of ways if you had like a kind of free flowing day instead of like this segmented going from one to the other. So I think it'd just be it could probably be a very messy game if you and probably quite boring as well, in the sense you're like, right now I've done this, let's run for 6 miles over to this place and now go back. Oh no, I've missed it, kind of thing. But we're moving on to October. Big surprise of the year for me, Guardians of the Galaxy. I shat in this game from the moment it was announced. I was like, this looks terrible. I don't know why. I just was like, nah, I'm not playing this. And then I got assigned it at work to review, and I fucking loved it. It was really, really good. It's kind of like that. Just a great like third person contained story experience. It's full of charm. It's probably the best incarnation of these characters, actually, I'd say. Because I'm saying that I've only had the MCU movies.
He has one reference point.
I have one reference point.
The best incarnation of Spider-Man I've ever seen. I've never played any others or watched the other films, but Tom Holland's incredible.
The best out of 2. So, that was really good though. I think it done a great job of like making the team feel really good. And the bickering, they had like a great level of bickering when it was like you're just walking to the next place and they're talking to each other. The combat maybe could have developed a little bit more, but it was fun enough, especially when you had that mechanic where it was like you were rallying the team and like playing.
That is the highlight.
Fighting some globby cube things while I can't remember, there was a tune that I mentioned in my review, but it was just, I found it so funny, like fighting this thing with this really inappropriate song for the moment, because it was like kind of like a sad 80s tune, but it was so funny. So having that in this game, like it was just, I just really, really liked it, and I liked that I don't need to go back to it. I liked that it was just kind of 12 hours or whatever. And
I need to stick with it and finish it.
The way that it's structured as well in terms of like the chapters, it's just really refreshing because it's quite an easy game to go like, right, I'm done for today, I'll come back tomorrow, kind of thing. So that was great, and it nearly made. I actually didn't mention it in my last video, but it nearly made one of my 2 videos. Did you play it, Sam? You didn't play it, Sam? No?
I played a couple of hours. I've not finished it.
Weak.
I'm a bit conflicted on it actually, because the more I've thought about it, like, they've nailed the kind of the atmosphere, the characters, and the lore, and the world, and everything. But the combat, I don't find it that fun to play.
Yeah, I get that.
That's what puts me off coming back to it. I think the writing's great. I think the story's really compelling. Everything around it that's not to do with playing the game is really good. The actual game aspect is the way I'm mixed on it.
I think as well, when I'm playing it, I'm always like hoping, I'm like, oh, when am I going to get the rally thing where we can play the 80s song? And then there's times you get to it and you're like, all right, activate, and there's one enemy left, and it's like, and then like wham will kick in, it'll be like, wait me up before you go, and then it ends. I'm like, I know that's like a cool mechanic in the game. I feel like it could have been worked in a wee bit better. It's just, I'm like you though, it's like the gameplay, like I play it for like an hour at a time, but I just don't get engaged enough. Like, I finished Spider-Man again, the remaster, and that's a game that is just constantly fun to play. And like, as much as it's repetitive in some ways, it's like is just like,
I get where you're coming from with the gameplay. I just felt that they balanced it enough where it wasn't just constant, like onto the next shooting bit, because I think then I think it was kind of on the cusp of being like too much gameplay for me, where I was like, nah, I didn't like this, but it had a nice balance for me in terms of like the cutscene stuff, the stuff where you're choosing like dialogue options, then the combat, then maybe platforming. So I think it kind of mixed all of those up well enough.
I think, as I said, like I think if I finish it, I'll be able to give a more like concrete opinion on it as well.
Yeah. You've got Alan Wake remastered here. Still not played it. Obviously played the others. I did actually play that one back in the day.
Oh, all right.
All right.
Gamer moment right here.
Like gamer moment. I had to lie about my age to buy it because it was a 16. Told the guy I was 1 year early, and he went like that. And went, alright, cool. Just gave it to me.
Yeah, you can have it, pal.
There you go, mate.
Again, another remaster, but I do think it's fitting. It should be mentioned. Again, I think they've gone a bit far and beyond with this one, actually, where they've done like completely new remodels with the characters, all the environments are new, fresh, and new textures. The gameplay itself, funnily enough, hasn't had any tweaks, and I think that might be a detriment to it. because it's still got that very early like 2010s camera problem where it's like fixed to the left of the shoulder. It doesn't quite work sometimes. But the whole experience itself, incredibly well written and a blast to play. And I know, like Kyle, it's very Twin Peaks inspired, so maybe that gets some brownie points in my eyes because it's like playing Twin Peaks the game essentially. But yeah, if you've not played it, it's like £20 as well, which is pretty good. For
weirdly cheap.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to playing it now that they've announced Alan Wake 2. Because it is
God,
one of my like.
It's like one of the badass in that review. Like.
Alan
Wake, look at him, mate. He's like John Wick. Like, that's all I've seen. I'm looking in the chair, I saw his face. I was like, damn, all right.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to that, and it kind of makes me want to go to Control as well, just to see what that's on my Christmas bucket list as well. But yeah, that looked. I'm hopefully going to get to that because we did split for it.
We did.
Not touched it. Not touched it yet. Kyle, little VR boy for you.
Yeah, I mean, again, did a video on it where I rambled about it. It's the best VR game of the year, hands down. It has issues, but I just, despite its issues, a game that I've been playing since I was far too young to play it. Far too young, probably. Like,
since I was a wee gamer.
Since I was a wee gamer. The fact that it's just a game. You never expect games from your childhood to come back in VR, especially this one that's a third-person game. It's been completely reworked to be a first-person shooter, and it works amazingly well. It looks great. It's on its own in the Quest. That's the only place you can play it. The Meta Quest at the moment. If you like Resident Evil 4 VR, like a lot of people, that is their favorite Resident Evil. It's a dream come true in some ways, and I think it lays the groundwork for what we probably will see for Resident Evil 8 if it gets a VR upgrade. It's just mechanically solid. Like, I can't stress enough. They literally. You have like gun holsters now. You've got like a spray on your your chest. You have to grab it and spray yourself, stuff like that. It's just a great. I think it's slowly becoming the top selling Quest game already after 2 months. It's because I think it probably is the reason to get an Oculus Quest, despite like Beat Saber and stuff. This is a 12-hour game, fully in VR, and it's pretty replayable as well. There's DLC coming as well for free, I think. So get on it, lads.
So are you saying that? Do you think they will have Resident Evil 8 VR?
I'd reckon if we're getting PSVR 2, I think the rumor is it's holiday next year. I feel like there will be a patch.
That'd be nice because Resident Evil 7 is amazing in VR.
With full motion controls as well. Fingers crossed.
Just a quick one for the month of October. One of Kyle's favorites, Back 4 Blood. What did you think of Back 4 Blood?
I'm not against it. I just like it's so disappointing. It's just a worse Left 4 Dead. It's just really, I think for me, despite it being like fun to play, I don't like the card system. I don't like the inventory system in general. You have to like pick what you want to buy at the start. It's just really dull, lack of character. You know, when I think Left 4 Dead 2, I'm thinking like that whole carnival campaign, how memorable that is, how quotable it is, how every part of it is just like is ingrained in your brain. Like this is just like murky. There's nothing to it that sticks in your brain. Just wasn't a fan. Just disappointing.
I think there's some potential in it. I might agree with you though that I didn't like the card system. Well, I did and I didn't. I hate the whole thing when it's like I'm not a big fan when it makes you like stick your nose into menus and be like, oh well, let's find out what the best tactic is here. But when I started to see like kind of what it was doing to the gameplay in a way, like I did enjoy that, like seeing the differences. And I think the base mode's too easy, like not fun at all. And the next one up's too difficult. That's the issue.
Yeah.
But what I did enjoy about when the difficulty was up was just when I played it with the people I played it with, it was just so much more fun, so much more like having to talk to your mates and be like, this guy's coming here. I've got no bullets for this. Can you cover me while I'm reloading? So I've done all of those things. And I think that's where the game really shines. And it did give me that kind of feeling of like, although I didn't play the Left 4 Dead series, it's just you'll probably be annoyed at, but it did remind me of like sitting at my mate's house on like a Friday night with a 24-pack of Iron Brew, you know, sitting there playing a session of whatever, you know. It gave me those kind of old school vibes in a way, but like obviously now you're all adults and no one has time to sit down and play a fucking zombie game for 4 hours. But I think had I been in the been in the position and had the people willing to do it like that, I think would have excelled and been a really great game for me. Moving on, though, November.
Can I ask?
Go.
First of all, Sam, did you like it?
Oh shit! Aye, Sam. I could
No, it's terrible.
What?
There we go.
Terrible. Like
Yes,
Aliens Fireteam Elite, it is also
what-
a game that belongs on the Xbox 360.
Well, that was my follow-up question, Aidan. What's better, Fireteam Elite or Back 4 Blood?
It just feels so like dissatisfying to play.
Yeah,
I can't express how bad like it feels to play.
I'd maybe.
And you know
say,
me, I love a zombie shooter.
yeah. World War Z is better.
I would agree, and I don't even like that game.
I love a zombie shooter. Here's two that I don't like.
Yeah, I've got to get the bad ones out of the way.
Well, we're getting on, boys. So we're going to move on to Battlefield 2042. Big. Me and Sam were really like you were quite excited for it, or were you, Kyle? I can't remember.
Yeah. I'm not really like Battlefield since Battlefield 1, so
I was hyped. I was super fucking hyped for this game, and in many ways, it was sort of like an adjustment period. I don't think it met my expectations, but I don't think it entirely let me down. It's just the kind of realization of like kind of buying up the usual corporate bullshit where they'll say like, we're gonna do, event changing things. Like they were talking about environmental effects that would completely change the game. So far, all that's in it is tornadoes, which
a tornado PNG.
which only turn up every now and again. Like I've not really had that many,
and they never really hit you. They're like, oh, cool tornado. Where is it? Other side of the map, hitting nobody. Like, all right.
I get the wingsuit and I go straight into him.
Sometimes I always jump in on the outside of the map, but there was an element to it where you're like, yeah, this does feel like there's missing content. There's stuff that they wanted to do with this game that they didn't. And what really pisses me off about it is that just from the early days of them talking about this game, they were all like, no, we're taking our time. We're gonna, we're not bringing it really in their kind of cycle of how they've been releasing them. It probably should have came out last year, but then they went, no, we're gonna delay it. We're gonna make it firmly in next gen. Then they say, actually, it's on both. And then they're like, oh, we're going to, add these things. And then actually that's not there. Oh, we're going to do seasonal content. It doesn't start for 6 months. All of these wee things that are like really pissing me off. And I think it is a kind of lackluster in that way. But in the same kind of breath, there still has kind of those Battlefield moments, which are just really funny, really hectic. I don't think it's, for me, actually managed to get close to Battlefield 5. Because I was actually a fan of Battlefield 5. I like Battlefield 5, and I don't think it has that same, like, there's parts in those games, even one, I wasn't as big a fan of one, but like bits where it'd be like, right, advance to the next sector, and everyone's like running and the music's kicking off, and you're just like, yes. And it does have that on paper, and it has that in moments where you're running across and you're like, oh my god, look how many people there are, but at the same time it just doesn't have the same kind of feeling. But it is still a fun game. I've been ranting for too long. Someone else speak.
I really like Battlefield 2042. I mean, yeah, it's got its shortcomings, and there's perhaps some things that were promised and they haven't fulfilled on it. Like I was reading yesterday, it was supposed to have volcanoes and tsunamis and wild stuff. And when you think about it, like you can picture that in the game, and it's a shame it's not there. But from the hours I've put into it so far, I've had an absolute blast with it. It's still a game like many other Battlefield games. You do need to play it with your friends. Yeah. If you play it on your own, I don't think you're going to have as much fun with it, because you're just going to get killed and get pissed off with it and turn it off. Whereas if you play with your friends, you can put up with that because you're creating stupid stuff while you're playing it, like the hovercrafts that can drive up buildings in this game. It's just one of the many stupidly fun stuff you can get up to, and I'm having an absolute blast with it.
Yeah, that's pretty much my sentiment as well. I think playing it on your own is quite depressing, because it's really difficult as well on your own, like, because how big the maps are. Some of the maps I think are too big, which I don't like the conquest mode at all, because it's just
I don't play conquest.
Huge gaps between objectives. That's the main issue. Were just like some balancing issues, which we've spoken about in the chat before. Like some of the maps just feel like insanely like cool in concept, the fact you've got an objective at the top of the skyscraper that you have to take an elevator to, but just terribly executed in terms of like how to attack it, which is a shame because I think that is such a cool idea. I have people trying to attack like the top of this large building that has different access points, but it winds down to an elevator. Good luck. But with friends, when it's like when you get that Battlefield vibe, when it's everyone charging, you're in a vehicle. I will say, I think that I'm surprised. I got from the trailer, I thought that every operator would have a wingsuit as default.
Yeah,
I kind of wish that was the case. I don't like because there's other abilities I want to use and have the wingsuit because it's just like a traversal thing. That's like it's a small nitpick, but I just wish that everyone would have wingsuits as default.
I think that would really buy into the whole like crazy Battlefield thing as well. Like if it was, it's kind of like the grapple hook in the next game we're going to talk about. But I will say that I think in terms of like the balancing with the player count, it's like they doubled the player count size but tripled the map size for me, and it just doesn't balance enough. Because you're still, it's too big in the sense that you spend too long going to places if you're playing Conquest, and it's too big in the sense that you've got enemies everywhere. So literally you're just getting killed and you're like, I don't know where I'm going, which is why I like Breakthrough a lot more, because it's a lot more focused and like moving along the one direction. But yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes in the future. I've actually got the Ultimate Edition, so I'll be playing like the Season 1 stuff whenever it starts and the new maps and all this. So I'm kind of hoping that it kicks off a lot more, but I think it is a testament to show that Battlefield Portal is doing so well in terms of like people are recreating the old experience, and that's becoming what seems to be a more popular part of the game, which is the old stuff.
It's great, Battlefield Portal. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough support for it at the minute from a developer standpoint.
Yeah, I don't think folk know what it is either. Like, it's just not clear what it is.
But when I played it, I played like the World War II maps on it with like stupid like new weapons and vehicles and whatnot, or I played like completely outlandish modes that people have made, just like really experimenting with like the parameters of the sandbox. I think it's got so much potential if they can put a bit more like effort going forward on that.
Yeah, like I was sorry, I'm going in. Oh, thank you. I was playing the Fortnite the other day, and that has like obviously the creative mode, and that's insane. But the way that Epic Games are like, here's all these different modes you can play. Like there's a full Squid Game mode, there's a team deathmatch. Whereas you go on Portal and it's like it's Bad Company 2 maps with 49 guns. Meanwhile, there's like somebody who's made like, I've made this like crazy snipers only, type of game mode, or like something really out there, and all they seem to be promoting is like, oh, you can use guns on this map. Didn't see that comment? It's like you're promoting the wrong thing.
There's a real accessibility issue as well with like finding the modes, because I done a guide a few weeks, like maybe a month ago or so, that was like looking online, scouring the internet, finding what people were saying is the best ones. I'm like, that sounds awesome. Oh, there's the name. Oh, I can't find it. Yeah. That's not there. Like really difficult to access, at least through PlayStation. Like I was just really struggling to find these amazing maps or modes that people were making, and all you have is fucking XP bot farms.
Oh yeah, there's so many XP 24/7 bot farm.
They don't even work anymore either.
No. Yeah, it was the same as you. I looked up like best Portal maps in the games, and there's like, oh, somebody's made Squid Game.
The zombies one was
and
cool.
You can't find it. Yeah,
the zombies. I did play zombies. That was cool. It was like say 24 players in one end that are like have guns and stuff, and then you have the zombies on the other hand, which is 104 players who just have knives, but they're really fast and really strong. And it was really funny because I had almost that World War Z kind of vibe where you're even there, you just see these guys like bombing it down. There's like so many of them, so that was really fun. But I think that the true potential of this game mode's really still to be realized. But
better rattle off these last two, eh?
I know. Halo Infinite, I love it. I say I'm obsessed. I haven't actually played it in a week, but I've had.
It's not Aliens Fireteam Elite. You're not obsessed.
Does it have a big Prometheus head? Nah. So. But Halo Infinite, as someone yet again to say have not really played I have played one now, like a couple of months ago. I'm playing through two now. So like this is my first like Halo multiplayer experience, and it's actually one of the few multiplayer games that's managed to capture me when I'm just playing it myself. Because I'm like, I could just play a match. It's like 10 minutes. But I love the game, the gunplay. I find it really, really fun. I like the rank scene. I like the modes. I think I would like maybe a slight like a bit more. Like I think they have actually added it since the last played with like playlists, so you can play specific game modes. Because I don't know if like you go into a new one, you're like, I don't like Slayer because I like objective based modes rather than just team deathmatch. But it's amazing. I think it's genuinely amazing. And people complain about the battle pass thing, but I love the idea of it. I think is incredible as well, where it's like you're earning individual parts of your armor, which you can then customize down the road. So like if you're really like playing a lot of this game, you can look and be like, man, look at this guy. Like he's kitted himself out. He's got that thing and he's combined it with that legendary thing or exotic thing. You know, I love the idea of that. And I like to see where my Spartan is in, 6 months time or whatever. Obviously they've got some little issues with the progression system, but at the same time, considering how long this season is going to be, I don't really mind. Because it's like people are like, oh, it's too hard to progress through. And I'm like, you're going to be done it in like 2 weeks if they keep adding it up. And then you'll have 4 or 5 months of like doing nothing, like no reason to play it. Because that is the one thing. Like, if I didn't have the battle pass, why am I playing this game? I need a leveling system. I really do need a leveling system to see the point and keep playing.
Yeah,
so
it does.
Because then I'm like playing this and I'm like, you scored 2,000 points. And I'm like, cool. Where's that going? Nowhere. It doesn't
100
XP.
Matter.
Yeah, it doesn't actually matter. So like that to me is a bit weird. So if the battle pass wasn't there, I'd have a major issue with it.
Yeah,
but
I also wish the competitive mode was a bit more like Overwatch in terms of how it ranks you. It's I don't know. There's something about it. It's just not very clear where you rank, and it's just like, oh, there you go, you're platinum. Like, all right. Whereas
I got platinum 4.
Well, there you go. Whereas Overwatch is very clear after each game. It's like big animations, like this is how shit you did. Boom, being demoted.
Yeah, because it's only just like a tiny little. It'll either be green or it'll be blue.
Yeah,
sorry, red. In terms
it's not
of where
clear.
your tiles went, it's not. It isn't clear.
I know everyone's answer that is like, well, back when you played Halo 2 locally, you didn't have bloody ranking systems. Like, okay, well, it's 2021 now. Gamers have changed. Yeah, I just think it needs a ranking system, something to keep me coming back to it because it is very fun to play. But I just have no urge to. I need that reward. I need a bar at the bottom of my screen that's like, I'm going to get leveled up, mate. I'm going to be Sergeant 55.
That is why I think as well, like people take to games like Call of Duty because it does a kind of good job of just being like, level up. And that, like people need that. People need to unlock stuff. People need to level up. They need to feel progression. Like there's a reason for them playing.
The whole reason battle passes are so popular.
Yeah, exactly.
Progression.
Like, you just need to feel like you're earning something. It's like worth your time because fun isn't enough. It's not enough for a lot of people. What do you think, Sam? You played a bit of it?
I played the multiplayer. I've not played the campaign yet, but I've heard
I've not touched that.
I've played nothing but good things about the campain.
I've heard mixed played it. About it.
Oh, really? People I've spoke to about it just said it's really fun. But the multiplayer, yeah, I agree in regards to the battle pass. To an extent, like, yeah, it's a grind to get through, but like Kyle, I need to feel like I'm making progress. I need to feel like I'm leveling up, like I'm getting something back for the time I'm putting into the game.
That's what I said.
Well, we both said that, suppose. We both said it.
I suppose you said it in different ways. But yeah, I've been having a blast sort of in playing it. I think the gunplay is really snappy and punchy. It feels satisfying as hell when you fucking dome someone in head with R3. That's just the way to finish somebody off. Yeah, I've got no complaints. I just think it's incredible that it's launched for free on Game Pass, the multiplayer, and it's in such like good state like when it's launched as well. Really, really good stuff.
Thank God it got delayed.
Yeah. Well, last one we'll forget December, and there's only really one thing that came out in terms of what I've played. We've all played, I think. Sam, you want to?
It's not really a game, I suppose, but we're cheating a little bit. But I thought it was worth mentioning. The Matrix Awakens Unreal Engine 5 experience. I thought this was really cool. I wasn't expecting them to drop like an open world that you could drive around like in a demo. I thought it was literally going to be what we said on the other video. It would be like an on rails thing. See a bit how the tech works, how it looks. 15 minutes done. But then to drop you in a full realized like map from the film for you to drive around and explore, and there's little Easter eggs around the map to like see the night mode or
Fortnite llamas in it.
Fortnite llamas in it on a bin. You can see that. I just think it's great. I do wish though, because I got really overexcited when it said on the screen when I first booted it up, it said triangle for fly. And I thought, oh no way, is it gonna let me fly like Neo in the Matrix? And then I pressed it's a fucking drone camera that you can make.
Yeah,
I thought that as well. That was really cruel.
If it had that, I would be playing that like every night, just flying around on it. But yeah, I think it's a really great indicator of what we're about to see as games start to push the kind of the boundaries that we're in at the moment.
I enjoyed it. It's really impressive. I love the car physics as well in terms of like the crashes and stuff just being far more realistic. But yeah, it looks fantastic. Something, I mean, unless you have more to say about it, Kyle.
No, just same issues. Like I really like the city. How you get a photo mode as well, and some of the photos you can take are insane. Like honestly, it is like I don't know. Like you could convince people it's real. It's a good one to show. I showed my dad. I was like, Dad, I'm looking at that. I show it to Matrix. She was like, fucking hell, that's a bloody game.
That's a video game.
What? So that's cool. Yeah, it's. I think it's. I don't get people when they're like, well, not that impressive. It's 30 frames per second. I'm like, are you joking? Like, really? Really? Like, it's just come on. It looks unbelievable.
Just before we kind of wrap up, I did forget to mention Life is Strange True Colors, which came out in September. That was a really good entry for me, having not played 2, Life is Strange 2, or
I cannot get through 2.
I think there was maybe one in between that. I can't quite remember. There was like Captain.
Oh, that was like a prequel to 2. It was
all right.
Well,
I've only played 1 before, but I really enjoyed this game, and they've massively improved the visual fidelity of it. The eyes look really real. It's not like crazy facial animations, but it's just makes such a difference in the colors and everything that it's just far more believable in that sense. Because you were filling in a lot of the blanks with the old game, like the first game at least.
Yeah, I'm struggling to get through 2 because it is pretty hideous and the writing is boring. It's just really boring.
I quite enjoyed True Colors, so you should check that out if you like those kind of games. But 2021, quite the year. We had some good games.
We had some good games.
You could say that.
Now, there was some big hitters this year, and then equally there was some absolute stinkers as well. But that's just the nature of the beast, I suppose.
What is do you have like a biggest disappointment of this year? Not even necessarily say it's like a game. It doesn't need to necessarily be a game. I don't know what else it would be then, but
I think just this being stuck in this cross-gen phase. Like I don't know, it's a bit elitist to say like forget last gen. Like it's a shame like games like Battlefield didn't fully commit to being a next gen game. Stuff like that.
That to me feels like the number one. That is to me is kind of the number one thing. 'Cause I just feel like that game could have succeeded so much better in terms of what they wanted to do, but it kind of feels like they've half-assed it by making it like a last gen game, like having to be able to like, oh well, you can do all this in this game, but it has to be kind of possible in last gen as well. So that to me just pulls it back. Obviously, I'm not a game developer. I don't really know how it works, but to me, that's kind of. I just thought I was expecting this to be like a crazy next gen experience, like something like taking Battlefield into the next, the next stage, the next level, and it didn't really do that. It feels like a slightly more advanced version of what's come before. Like it feels a bit bigger, and it really having been the first game on the next gen console, it should have jumped a bit further than that. And I'm kind of hoping then whatever they do next does just go like, you know what, we need to go balls to the wall. But it's will they get another chance? Because this felt like the momentum that was building for this game, it felt like it could have actually been like the Call of Duty killer that they talk about. It felt like one that was like could have seriously been talked about as like the number one shooter, because so many people were really hyped for this game, and then it just lost momentum as it get closer and closer, and people started to realize it's just not going to happen.
That's fine. Well, I was going to say it's fine because Call of Duty killed itself, but it didn't really. Which we thought it did, and then the sales came out, and it was like, oh, it's the best selling game of the last month. So it's like,
I don't know if it's a disappointment, but there is a trend that I want to see kind of fixed, and it's like upgrade paths and stuff like that to do with games. It needs to be more consistent. Like Death Stranding was like what, £5 if you upgraded it, which is pretty cool. Whereas Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut's like £25 if you want to upgrade it.
And the fact that they took it away from the store as well. If you want,
and they took it away. And then
that
there's other stuff as well. Like I remember this specifically, like with you, Aaron, when you got Hitman.
Oh my god!
And you were trying to access the other games essentially because you can import everything into Hitman 3, which is great in concept. But the fact it was so misguided,
fucking PhD and online mechanics, I have no idea.
I just think things like that, especially like just from my point of view and the PlayStation point of view, it needs to be more streamlined because I don't think they're quite there yet with that accessibility.
Meanwhile, Xbox is just killing it with that.
Yeah,
Mirror's Edge runs at 60 frames per second now. Insane.
4K as well.
Yeah, 4K 60 FPS, but on your PS5 you got to pay a $5 to upgrade Death Stranding, which I get you're getting upgrade. Well, it's so difficult again, like saying, because some of it comes with extra content, sometimes
it's a catch-22.
Yeah, you can't win. I mean, that I guess going into next year, I would like to see Sony, which the rumor seems to go, are going to put their foot down. Like, we do care about backwards compatibility because, boom, here's PS1, PS2, and PS3 games like it's been rumored. That's my main thing.
We can only see if they put PSP games on as well. Because that means
don't say it in the video, in the fucking video.
That means I can play Pursuit Force on the PS5, baby.
You said it.
Well, let's just end this madness here before Sam starts popping off retro games I've never heard of in my life before. But let us know down in the old comments what have been some of your favorite games, what have been some of your biggest disappointments. And I think we're going to do another video in the new year for what will be our most anticipated for 2022, because obviously this is, as it stands, sitting at about an hour and 20 minutes. So,
oh dear God,
we'll do that another video.
Good luck.
But yeah, I think this is also our last video of the year.
It will be.
It will be. So yeah, I mean, this is the end of 2021, which was the beginning of our channel back in January actually. Yeah, January.
Really?
Yeah, January been going for nearly a full year, and I think I'm speaking for you two as well. And I said it means so much that people keep coming and watching the videos, and we've just passed 200 subscribers, which might not be a lot to some people, but to us, it's the world. So just thank you for always turning up and watching the videos.
Keep doing it.
More Matrix content on the way.
It's a Matrix only channel.
Matrix only channel. But yeah, we're really looking forward to kind of keep going with what we've been doing. I think we've slightly found a bit of a rhythm since we relaunched the channel, because I think we're maybe a little bit ambitious to start like, oh no, what happened was we were very ambitious, but then we all got jobs almost immediately after that. So it really scuppered our plans a little bit. But yeah, thanks to everyone that's stuck by, liked the video, left a comment, subscribed to the channel. And yeah, all the best to 2022. I almost said 2021, and no doubt we'll be playing lots more video games, lots to look forward to. But thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next year.